What do you mean as well?
What do you mean as well, Paul?
When are we partying? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Talk about this later.
All right, sorry. All right. Why isn't yours on? Yours on now?
Bad static. It's really bad.
I can hear. On. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, Lou, you can keep pressing. I can hear. So, can you hear? Are we here? Are we okay on that one? Can you talk?
Yes, I can talk.
Well, all our connections here are fine. Here.
So, oh, it's okay now.
Static.
There we go.
It's really bad.
That's the delay. Okay.
Are we right now? Fine now. Good.
The little bursts are just me. It's okay. Not me, but it's me unmuting.
So, can you hear? Are we okay on that one?
Yes, I can talk.
Yeah, I guess I don't listen to that now, do I?
Okay, good. I'm not quite sure what happened then, but we're okay now.
It was
good.
you. It was your brain frying because I told you I was having a day off.
Day off, hey, what's that all about? All right, let me get a second.
Got to have a day off. Need to recharge. Busy week this week.
Oh,
Working
non-stop.
Saturday.
Non-stop this week.
Hence the stress. Well, not stress.
Hence the stress.
It's just
chaos.
It's our Christmas, winter event day, isn't it? This Saturday
Yes.
in the town. So hopefully we're going to be busy. But it's just keeping up with
It's the preparation.
what to order and how much to order and what's going to be popular because it seems to be different every year, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we need to put posters out. We need to put banners up.
But I'm
we
just
need-
panicking because we
can-
have to
you
have
can
to have
always-
everything, don't we?
you can
We don't have to have
always-
everything, but I don't want people coming in saying if you've got something and we haven't got it.
You can only sell what you've got. If you haven't got it, you can't sell it. Admittedly.
Then it's the research that goes into making sure we've got all of that, isn't it? Which I probably overthink, but you can't sell it if you haven't got it, have you?
Press F5, press refresh. You should be okay.
And
We're
I hurt
okay.
my back
No.
this morning.
I hurt your back doing your Arnold presses as well.
So I'm not happy chappy today.
So you're off to the physio tomorrow morning to try and sort that
More
out.
time off, Andrew.
More time off. Shouldn't be allowed, should it? Shouldn't be allowed. Right, that's what's been happening with us. Right, okay, so happening Friday. I'll say this with Durston because you can get some specials, okay? So on Friday, we've got Durston Tools are starting their Black Friday, a week before Black Friday, okay? I'm going to promise you the best discount that you can possibly get if you are a paid member of At The Bench. I'm not allowed to give the discount code out to everybody, but only to paid members of At The Bench. And wherever you are around the world, that discount code will work. The items will be shipped from Arizona or from the Netherlands in the EU and so forth, okay? So I'll be offering you the best discount possible if you're a paid member of At The Bench. Couple of items. I was hoping that I was going to get something in the post today. It hasn't come, but I'll tell you something now. I have been playing around with this today, very, very quickly. Okay. Yeah, this is the close up. Here we go. This is the Tumbler Pro. Durston Tools' Tumbler. That goes on there. It's got variable speed and a timer. I have to admit, I'm not a lover of tumblers, but I put some items in this and it did a really good job. I think it's because due to the hexagonal drum, it pushes. You all right, baby Louise?
Yeah.
What's the matter?
They just give me the ick. No, it's the slimy.
Oh, the sliminess
The slimy,
inside.
slimy. Yeah, just.
So, okay, so that's the Tumbler Pro. Okay, and what I don't have is the pickle pot. It's in the other room. So, if you're a paid member of At The Bench and you want to get your hands on the new tumbler, I've just done a review of it. That'll be up on YouTube later on this week, telling you all about it. If you want to get your hands on the tumbler, I'll be giving you the best discount ever. Nobody else will be able to beat this discount. And if you mention my name in the notes, they will give you the shot, the media that goes in it, completely free of charge, which is another, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 pounds free. Or
Is it 20 or is it 40? Because that's quite a difference, Andrew.
check up, Louise. Check up on Durston. Check up on Durston.
Let's have a look, shall we?
Go on to durston.com. What's new? Try spelling it correctly, would help.
I know how to spell it.
Return to shop. Down there in the middle. That's the one.
You just did a good job there.
And if you buy the pickle pot and you mention my name in the notes, they will give you the pickling solution free as well. So £41 is the cost of the shot. Not only will you get the best discount ever, you will also get the shot free, which is £41.
That's for a kilo
Free.
of shot, yeah?
A kilo, yeah.
Cool.
Which is roughly what you need for the barrel. The best thing about the barrel, it's bigger than anybody else's. You can put a kilogram of media in it, and it's a 1.5 kilogram barrel, so you can put 500 grams of items in it. So you can put loads of stuff in it. Absolutely love it. But you've got to be a paid member of At The Bench to get the discount code and to get the freebies for your discount on the freebies for your tumbler or the pickle. And I'll also have another code for you all for the special pattern plates that they're doing as well. They're doing a bangle pattern plate, which is longer than the normal, and also there's another pattern plate with 5 different designs across it. I was hoping I would have that today, but I don't, but I should be demonstrating that this time next week. Thank you.
How much is it?
What is?
The
Barrel plug,
275.
275 plus the VAT, that equals £330. It is a lot. Yes, Louise.
Question. So you can get mixed shot, dowel, pins, oblique, steel discs, and steel round. What is the difference?
All right, so it depends. Is there a mixed one there?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ask for the mixed. The mixed shot. Some of them have are little balls, okay, like that. Some of them are almost like little planets that look like that, and the other ones are that way or that way. And some of them are pins. Ask for the mixed shot, and the shot will have that, and that in it. The reason being is that the balls here will burnish the surface, but if you've got an item that is got an angle like this, the balls will not be able to get into this area. That is the advantage of using the mixed shot with these little cylinders that are like that are sort of that shape, yeah, because those then will be able to get in here. So ask for the mixed shot. I don't know why they're separate.
Oh, I was going to just say, what would be an application then for, say, for example, the oblique pins?
I don't understand
Perhaps
the reason
we'll get some
why.
info from Durston on that then.
But when we sell the shot, we sell the mixed shot because it has all the different ones, and they'll be able to get into all the nooks and crannies.
But it'd be interesting to know, wouldn't it, why?
I think they're just doing it to make money.
Well, there's obviously a reason, isn't there?
The mixed shot is going to be good. So yeah, so the best discount on the tumbler, it's $330. You'll get an amazing price off that, and you will get the shot as well, which actually will work out roughly around the same sort of price as the other brands that you can get. And don't forget to get the safety pickle with the pickle pot as well. But you've got to be a paid member of At the Bench to get these codes, because a coupon code will be coming out to you at the end of this week.
Did you say what the discount was, or are we not saying?
I can't say at the moment. I can't, but it's better, it's greater. Now this is the thing, because because I'm Andrew Berry, I will get you the best discount. So it's going to be better than what Durston are even going to be giving you. Okay, so Durston are going to give you a discount, and I have been promised a better discount than what even Durston can give you. But you've got to be a paid member of At the Bench. And to be honest, even if you join At the Bench, but you can't at the moment because the live site hasn't gone live yet. If
Join At the Bench? Oh, you can't.
You can't. You'll get your discount. Simple as that. Okay, should we start, Louise? That's my bit of bleh advertising.
Have you finished?
Yeah, I finished now. So,
right.
Anything we need to say today regarding anything else?
I don't think so.
No, it's just been one of those days, hasn't it?
I just don't feel like I've come up for air today.
Oh, it's absolutely manic. It's
Okay.
manic, which is good.
Yes.
So
if you're thinking of visiting Estromonic, Saturday's a very good day to visit.
Saturday there'll be lots of stalls out in the street. There'll be all different stalls of all different things. People selling alcohol, crepes, cakes. There'll be displays with
donuts.
There'll be displays of donuts. Yeah, displays of owls.
No, you can buy donuts.
You can buy donuts. You can watch the displays of owls.
Things like that, isn't it? Christmas fair.
Christmas fair.
They normally have reindeer. If there's no reindeer, they might have a donkey.
With antlers.
You're making it sound rubbish now. It's always really good.
It's a very, very busy day in Estromonic this coming Saturday. If you're in the area, please do come along. Lovely to see you.
Okay. Do you want a question?
Please, let's have a question.
Right. Blink Shot Life. And I never have made jewellery, but I'm a machinist and gunsmith. Ooh. What would be a very unique piece of jewellery to make for my wife for Christmas?
That's a very difficult question to answer. Because...
Do we know what goes into gunsmithing?
Don't know.
What tools and equipment have you got would be the first question, I suppose, isn't it, Blink Shot Life? Do you have access to soldering equipment? Do you have a little torch? Do you have
files?
Solder?
Silver, metal?
Yeah,
gold,
let us know a
brass?
little bit more about the tools and equipment that you have, and then we'd be better equipped to answer you. Is that okay?
But then again, if I say a particular design, that is not necessarily going to be unique, is it? It's got to be unique to you for you to come up with.
Well, you could come up with some sort of basic plan, and then it can be adapted, can't it, to make it unique?
Yes, absolutely.
Perhaps we can even point you to a workshop or something that might be able to help. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Give me some more info, and we can let you know. Billy, what are you tumbling? Stones or silver?
Okay.
Silver.
Yeah, silver. It's bits and pieces in there. Silver. I did try with some stones in there as well. Some sapphires. They tumbled really nice. And I got really, I'm not a lover of tumblers, as you know, but I was impressed with this one. The finish on it was really, really good. I was really impressed with it. It came up lovely and bright. As I said, we got a review going up on YouTube later on this week. Yes, Lou. Next question, please.
Kenneth. Hi, Kenneth. I have been trying to make a half round shank approximately 3.5 wide by 7.1 deep. I have a Durston rolling mill with extension rollers, 1.5, 3 and 4. Is this possible starting from a square shank?
3.5 millimeters wide. Yeah, now the problem with these extension rollers, there is no 5mm. And I don't know why, because you can get the other rolls that are 6, 7 and 8, but there is no 5, which I am a bit disappointed with. I would like Matthew to do a 5mm. So you're going to have to go for the 4mm, but I think what I would do first, because... You're
I'm going like that.
You're buffering,
yeah.
but it does say excellent connection, doesn't it, underneath? There we go, we're back.
Okay, back in the room.
If you've got a square and you desection it into that desection like that, what you're going to find is the metal is going to get wider. And I would say that will go to approximately, I would have thought, around about 3.5. So even though it starts off with 3, because you're compressing it in this direction, it will go outwards. Okay, so it will spread into 3.5. Perhaps what I would do is get your square section and just perhaps put it through the flats to make it 2 by 3, perhaps, or even if it has to be 3 millimeters, wasn't it? Yeah, if you 3.5.
3.5 wide
okay.
but 1.7 deep.
With 3mm wire. Okay, so yes, so starting off, yes, from a square shank. Okay, so yes, so I would start off with, say, a 3mm square. Ignore that end bit there. So start off with a 3mm, and by the time it's gone through the half rounds, it should get bigger to 3.5 due to the compression going down. Yeah, I think that's all I really need to say on that. Obviously, it is all trial and error, but just try it. And I know what are they? Would you say they were up to 4? So even though it's 4mm on these rolls, and that's 4mm, you can still put 3.5mm through it, and it still will fit. So start off with a 3mm square, desection it. It should stretch and bend out, even though it'll go lengthwise as well. It should go widthwise to the shape that you want. It should. Yes. Yes, Lou.
Okay, Stuart is asking, what is the best way to put a slight bend in a length of tube at 4mm diameter without it kinking?
If you've got a slight bend, what is the length to start off with? Because the length is very important, because if I had a piece of tube that was that length and it was 4mm, I could just simply do that and it would bend quite nicely. But if you had a shorter piece of tube, short like that, and you try and bend it, it may not be so easy. So just let me know what is the length that you want it to be, and I will certainly tell you. So I'll come back to that one. Yes, Lou.
Okay, so Joe, I would like to do a kintsugi on silver using gold solder on my joins. What gold solder should I use? Hard, medium or easy? I am concerned about the melting points of the different metals.
You're using silver and gold
solder for
on
the
your
kintsugi, yeah.
It depends upon at what stage of the construction you're at. So for argument's sake, if you are putting together, say, a ring shank, okay, and you've got 2 sections of ring shank coming around. That's terrible, Andrew, start again. My drawing's getting worse and worse. So say you've got 2 half sections, that's easier, 2 half sections of ring shank, okay, and you're just wanting to put together, for argument's sake, like a stitch, okay?
That's not really kintsugi though, is it?
No, but you can join these together.
But kintsugi would be joining it that way, wouldn't it? With like a, joining it.
Because don't you have pins that join them together? Join 2 fragments together to pull them together?
Oh, do you? I thought there was like a vein. I thought that was characteristic of...
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, okay. Yeah. This can still work.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're trying to join 2 pieces of metal like that, if that's what you're on about, at what stage? So this is going to be joined up then, okay? So as Louise says, you're going to have a join now. This is going to come
Please
across.
say if I'm wrong. Joe, sorry.
Okay, so say you want to put this join across here, and you want to put another join down here. Depending now upon your construction, perhaps I would use a hard solder, because this is your first one. So that would be your hard solder here. And then you want another solder joint down here. So perhaps this one is going to be your next solder joint. So perhaps then I would use, perhaps to make life easy, and have it easy. Okay, so then you've got the joins across there and across there. Yeah? Do you think so? Yep, that would be the way.
Just waiting
but
for some
if
more.
you've only got one join, and that is a solid piece of metal coming round for argument's sake, and you've got no other joins on that particular piece, you use a hard. Or if you've got embellishments upon this, for argument's sake, so you've got a ball there and you've got an irregular ball there, and you want to put a join, whether it be straight or whether you've managed to do a nice little curved joint like that, because you've used a hard solder there and you've used a hard solder there, This joint I would use perhaps an easy solder. So it depends upon which stage of the construction that you're actually using this. Or you could join that with a hard solder. Yep, your first solder joint, and then these will come in afterwards, and perhaps you'd use an easy after that.
Could you make your life easier?
I'm all for that, Lou, you know that.
By... Because the idea of kintsugi is repairing something, isn't it?
Yes.
And making it beautiful, though still yet broken, but put back together again with the gold. Whatever it is that you're using it, whether it's pottery or whatever. Could you just make the thing and then maybe burr out the lines, the veins, and then somehow...
So it's like an inlay. Yes, you can.
And then there's no weakness in your piece then either, is there?
That is such a very good...
Did you like that?
Did I
contribute something sensible for once?
That was very good, actually, yes. Because you can, and we covered this one at the bench on one of the films already, absolutely. So as Louise was saying, you can make something look really, really nice by, for argument's sake, and I'm just going to do this really, really easy, just to demonstrate what Louise is on about. So you've got a plate, a simple plate like that, and you want to replicate this sort of broken look, okay? So like you've got two pieces of metal, that you're going to join together. So instead of having the two pieces to join together, as Louise quite rightly said, you would get perhaps a ball burr and you would make a little channel running along your piece like that. So that is a channel that you've got the ball burr, grooved it out, you flux it, and then you melt gold solder, you put little panels, you melt gold solder into that channel, buff the top with an emery paper, and then what you left is a little gold vein running across, so it looks like you've got two pieces joined with a piece of gold.
Because it's going to be better visible that way than if you solder it, you might not
very,
see it very
thin. Yes.
You can control how much of it you want to show.
Because Sonny used to use that. He did a silver band and had 18 karat solder. As you say, it is very, very thin. But if you burr that out with perhaps a 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, shallow like that, flood it with solder, and that would look amazing. Have that matte, a matte finish. Have that as 18 karat solder, and that will really pop out of the matte silver. Very good.
Very good. So we actually answered the question though, instead of to do it. I haven't just gone off the point. Yeah, that's all right then.
So it's a hard question to answer because I don't know what stage of the process you're at, to be honest. But yeah, good question and a very good answer, Louise. Very good.
Good. Heather is saying, looking at buying a micromotor, thoughts on pros and cons, please.
You could answer that because you like micromotors, don't you?
I'm a bit spoilt. I've only ever used a micromotor. Well, that's not true. I did use the pendant motor as well for a while, but I just found it really cumbersome, quite heavy. I don't know, affected my posture. I just find it really easy to use because I can control my revs easier, so I can set the maximum revs to whatever I want, really. So if I'm using the Eve Flex, Eve Flex discs, I can set it to the maximum that I know that they can cope with, because there is a maximum, and if you rev it too much then you're just going to max them out and they don't last 5 minutes. So you can set the maximum to that to make sure you're not overusing your rotary tools, I suppose, your rotary burrs, your instruments. I just find it easier to use, really. I find it...
Because you're fighting against the shaft, aren't you?
Yeah.
Admittedly, the shaft should be higher, but you're always fighting against this. There's always this going on, isn't there? There's this at the end of it. You come up, you're doing this, but this is always attached. And yeah, you find that it's perhaps you don't have enough strength in your hand to counteract that, do you? Because that is always pulling, because there's that. Admittedly, that should be a little bit higher, so the flex is going this way. But there's always
the weight out of it,
always some weight being pulled down, and you're always having to counteract that. Whereas if you didn't have that, all you've got is the weight of the handpiece to control.
I just feel like I'm in control of the whole thing rather than that flapping around.
You are battling against the shaft
that's
all
just
the time.
What I just feel like I've got better control over the actual revs. You can use it foot free as well. So if you don't want to use the pedal, you can on off. I mean, the pedal's probably safer, I think, sometimes, isn't it? Because
Yes.
you haven't got to manually stop it. You can just take your foot off.
Yes.
But it's just nice to have the option, isn't it?
And you've got the Fordham, haven't you? One of the Fordhams. Can't remember the model number, but it's about £450, I think.
Yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. For me, it's great.
They are.
And it's portable. It's easily portable, and I do bench hop, and I don't really have my own bench. So it's really good because I can...
Keep on talking, I'll go and grab yours.
I think it's in the other room, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I can just take it to whatever bench I'm commandeering for that day. So it works really well for me. Why else do I like it? I think that's about it, really. Have you got it?
Yep. Because as you say, you bench hop, so you basically... Oops. You sort of carry your tools with you, don't you? Like
just some sort of nomadic.
Like a travelling jeweller. Yeah. So plus, as Louise says, different tools, rotary tools, have preferential speeds, maximum speeds, minimum speeds, and so forth. So this is...
I think with a lot of experience, you can get to know roughly what sort of speed you can apply to what, but I don't have that experience, so... it's good for me to set the maximum, and then I know I'm not gonna ruin all my or go through my E-flex, because they're not cheap, are they? I'm not gonna go through them in 5 minutes, and then you'll tell me off them when I ask for more.
Oh my god, a bit of rouge tucked in there. But yeah, so the little big on the side. This is the do you know what? I can't even find what it is. Oops, Daisy. This is the HP 4617. This is a really, really good machine. It comes with a foot pedal as well. So as Louise says, you've got your foot pedal, so you can operate that. Oh my goodness me. We need to try and sort this out, don't we? Come here. There it is. There's the handpiece. So there's the handpiece as well. It's nice and easy. It clicks open. You can adjust whatever you want and put whatever you want in it. You can put that into there.
Oh, that's what that's for.
Has the foot pedal as well with it.
Putting my rouge in there.
I did see that, yes. And likewise, you can put that on this side as well, and that'll go that way. It can even go at an angle this way to put it in there. And I think it's very good. It has a little stand as well. You can put it up on the top to rest that in as well. That's not for your rouge, that's for the...
I have been using that as the stand, actually, yeah.
So that's that. Foot control as well. So you set the maximum control here. It'll go forward or reverse, hand or foot, and push that to run. If you click it onto hand, when you turn it on, it starts up instantly. But if you put it onto the foot control, you set it to the speed you want, and then it won't go then until you actually press the foot control. It is good. They are really good machines, but you expect to pay, I would say, double the cost of a flex shaft for a good quality Fordham.
And I suppose that's the only con, isn't it? I was just going to say pros and cons. Personally, for me, I love it. There's nothing really I can say that I don't like about it, but it is that little bit more, isn't it?
Yes,
or quite a bit
it
more.
It is. And don't get the Fordham portable one. It's a small little pack. I know Cookson's had that quite cheap at a good price.
When they say portable, what's portable? Because how could it be more portable than that one?
Carry it with you. There's a little belt clip. You carry it with you.
Where's the need?
I know. So that would literally be bench hopping. But we know somebody who bought that one.
Why would you need?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to figure out
why.
Yeah.
Don't know. Perhaps you want to go over there and do something over there.
While you're on the way there, why would you?
I don't know. So
I don't know what that was. I don't know what I'm doing there.
So Cookson had one. It's a portable one. It was no good for them. It just didn't work very well, did it?
I think they were disappointed. I can't remember who. Yes, I do. I remember who. And she said there wasn't a lot of power to it. Didn't have a lot of poke, did it?
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's great.
But that one does. That one is very, very good. You can even get hammer hand pieces for that particular model as well. They plug in the back, and you can use that. I've always got this by the side of me, and I think I've sort of grown up with the flex shaft. You can remove the handpiece, you can put the hammer action onto it, and so forth. For me, I still like this. I still love the fact that it's got the foot control. I always go looking for the foot control because that's what I'm used to. But the handpiece on that is beautiful. It's light. It's nothing like the weight of this handpiece and this flex, but expect to pay twice the price. If you go for anything cheaper, don't expect the same torque or power as something like a flex shaft would be. There is more maintenance when it comes to a flex shaft because of the brushes and the shaft here, but the micro motors are brilliant. I would say they're more accurate than a flex shaft if you want to do some really sort of micro parve and drilling tiny holes. It is a lot more accurate, and because of that you can reduce the speed to get it just right.
I suppose the other thing you would have to consider that could potentially be a con is a negative, I shouldn't say con, 'cause it's not connotations, is this going to take a little space on your bench, isn't it?
Yes.
In your flex shaft, obviously it doesn't because it's over there.
There, that's the only
Yeah,
problem.
that's the only other
But
thing.
if you had a shelf underneath, you could always store it underneath here, or make a little shelf that goes underneath your drawers on your bench, and you could always store it under there.
That's only really a worry if your bench is a mess,
Yes.
like yours is, Andrew.
Next question then, please.
Okay, Anthony's saying, a lovely hair cuff made from a non-precious metal. I think, is that the question for Slingshot, perhaps? Going back to the barrel polisher,
Yes.
tumbler, stones and glass would take too long, wouldn't they?
Yes, it is more for tumbling, for burnishing, and also perhaps grinding castings and taking the sharp edges off castings. It's not a stone tumbler because of the construction of it. It is purely a metal tumbler. Yeah.
Okay, Slingshot Life. This is the person who asked about piece of jewellery.
Yeah, unique.
All hand tools imaginable, files, torches, lathes, mills, drills. I will just email you. Cool.
Okay, yeah. But I think the thing to do would be just to look. We always say Pinterest is a great place to look at, to start at. See something, I like that idea, elaborate from it and go forth. Don't necessarily copy things directly, but make it unique to yourself. There's hardly a design out there that is going to be totally unique, but based upon the equipment that you've got, I'm sure you can do something with a lathe that would not be available to the majority of us. So yeah, utilize the equipment that is going to be more perhaps specialist to you, that then you can make something far more unique than just simply using a torch and some silver. Yes.
Good. And Vaughan Green, hi Louise, I've been sent an email saying my membership is due on the 16th. The links are not taking any more. Right. Yes, I know how to sort this out. Can you email me, please, louise@andrewberry.co.uk, and I can sort that right out for you.
Yes.
Thank you.
If it's due on the 16th, if it's going to be auto renewing and you have a yearly or a monthly membership, it'll automatically renew.
But if it doesn't and you're in limbo, get in touch with me and I will sort you out. It's not. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
only if your membership sort of expires or you've got a 1 year, you cannot do it. But if it's a yearly, it's automatic. As Louise says, just contact louise@andrewberry.co.uk.
Stuart is saying it's a shorter piece of tube, 40mm. This was going back to Stuart's question.
Okay, so it's going to be very, very difficult for you to bend it. I would get your 4mm piece of tubing. Where's my bit of tube? I did have it in here earlier. Ooh, that's a bit of tubing, Andrew, isn't it? What have we got? This is a nice big thick. This bit of tubing is 5.5 millimeters. If it's a short length like that, it's going to be very difficult for you to bend it successfully. What I think I would try and do is try and get something like with a core, perhaps a piece of copper that you could put out through the inside of it. Shut up. What's my trombone? Anyway, okay. Yeah, I would have something like that that would go through the middle of it, that then would allow you to perhaps hold on to either end and then bend it. It's going to be very difficult for you to get that piece of metal out, but a little trick that you can do, say you've got your piece of tubing that is like here, okay, this is like a cross section through it, there's the wall, put one bit of wire in to here, another bit of wire in to there, that is the internal diameter. So then when you bend it, all you got to do is take out that short bit of wire and that short bit of wire there. You don't have to try and get the whole piece out. 2 halves in like that, bend it, remove them. That's how I would do it. Thank you. Oh,
What are you doing?
banging the drawer.
Liz is saying, can you recommend a good all-round torch? I currently have a Durston. Excuse me.
An all-round torch. Now, what's happening with this drawer? Sorry. That's better. That's better. Okay, an all-round torch. Now, I do love these. We produce amazing work here and at the bench using these two torches. This is the small hand torch, this is the blow torch. They are both, this one is a Durston, the other one isn't, but I do have the Durston one of these as well. You can do amazing things with these torches, okay? Up here in this workshop, when we do these lives, these workshops, and for At the Bench, we use these torches because they're available to everybody at a reasonable price. If you want to take the next level up, a brand and a torch that we used for years and years and years, and we still use it, depending where you are in the world, we use something called Sievert. You have the handle, okay, handle, and it has the little knob by here that you can turn it on and off, and it has that, and that's that. This is the handle, okay? It's got Sievert on there, and it has the handle. When you buy it, it comes with a little pencil nozzle that is like this. There's a nut by here, and this is a pencil nozzle that's like that. That screws onto the handle here, okay? And this is called the pencil nozzle. There is not one torch that does everything, okay? There's a pencil nozzle. Then if you want to do some melting down, or you want to do some large annealing, soldering a bangle, little pencil nozzle is not going to work. In that case, then what you need is the neck, and then from there you would then have a larger torch, a larger burner, I should say, 3941, I think, is a burner that is bigger, that gives you more oomph. And I love that word, oomph.
Oomph.
Oomph. So that will screw onto there, or that will screw onto there, okay? So, but you still need to have two different nozzles because of the application. The pencil nozzle is brilliant, soldering rings, soldering shanks, soldering chains, but to get that bigger flame, you need another burner. That burner needs to have a neck that screws onto here, but the pencil nozzle already comes with a neck. This is brilliant. It runs on propane. That's all you need is propane, and you can buy a tank. You can buy a little 8 or 9 kilogram tank for about 15, 20 pounds. That is going to last you for at least a year. The torches we sell on the store, atthebench.store. So we sell the torch, the hose, the regulator, and the pencil nozzle. Cannot remember for the life of me what they cost, but we also sell the necks and the burners as well. That is something that I definitely would recommend because it's safe to use in a home. You could go up to things using oxygen and propane with the Smith's little torch, but then you've got the expense of the Smith's little torch, the regulators, the flashback arresters, your propane, and then your oxygen, or you buy an Oxycon. It's a lot more expensive. Or you can buy a needle flame from Adrian, which uses mech. It's and like an aqua flame, but the cost of that is going to be a couple of £1,000. Brilliant machine, but that's the next step again. But the Sievert, perhaps in your country, or a Hoki, I think it's called a Hoki, would be ideal. As long as it has a separate tank of propane, you can do so much more than these little guys here. Yes, Louise.
Okay. David is asking, are all faceted oval stones cut to the same length to breadth ratio, or do you need sets of oval triplets to suit?
Usually they are a stock size, and they are usually things like 10 by 8, 8 by 6, 5 by 4, 7 by 5, 16 by whatever, 14, something like that. So they should all be calibrated to the same length and width if you buy them from a reputable dealer. Sometimes you will get fatter stones. You may get 5 by 3.5, for instance, because sometimes they want to try and give you the most material to charge you the most. So if you say you want a 5x4 or an 8x6, that is what you should be able to buy unless you ask for anything different. Usually the old rings that we have in to have stones replaced, sometimes the sizes are a little bit odd because at those days they didn't have the stock sort of sizes and they just cut the stones to fit the settings. But usually if we supply, and we do, the settings, the oval settings, they come in like 8x6, 7x5. You buy an 8x6 stone, it will automatically fit in that 8x6. That was the question?
So, yeah.
Yes, but if you cut the stones yourself, you can cut them into whatever length you want. But sometimes you will get stones, you know, if it isn't like a nice oval, you know, 8x6, you may get a stone that is sort of this oval, that may be, you know, yeah, like 8 by
Does it depend where you
3.
get them from as well, though?
This is why I said a reputable dealer. Because if you buy a bundle of stones, they're going to chuck all sorts in there. But you know, we deal with AE Ward in London. You ask them for a size stone, and it should come the size that you ask them for, because they will check and they will measure it. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, Lou.
Okay. I use a hard solder, but it seems it boils in the first place as it started. Is there something wrong with the solder?
It boils. Okay, so without knowing exactly your situation, what will happen is you're talking about the solder boiling. That is because, and let's say we go to a ring. We're making a ring. Okay, so here is our join. There's the ring. One piece like that there. Okay, so there's the join across my piece of my ring. Okay, and that will come round like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this is that. So if you think about the size of the piece that you've got, that ring is big, and you put on the top here a small little piece of solder. Now, you're automatically going to come along and direct your flame onto that solder, aren't you? Because you want the solder to melt and to flow. But look at the size of this bit of solder compared to the ring. You put your flame here in this direction, okay? That bit of solder immediately will melt and ball up because this metal here has not reached the right temperature for that solder to flow onto. So you should never put your flame onto the solder, because ideally it is the metal that should transfer the heat to the solder. And when the metal is the right temperature for the solder to flow, the solder will flow. So if you're doing this instance, don't put the torch here, put the torch perhaps down here, okay? And then dance the torch back and forth, like this, back and forth. Because whenever you see me soldering, I'm always moving the flame back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like this, heating the ring up from down here, bringing the heat up, okay? And as soon as this, say the temperature of the solder melts, I don't know, 800 degrees. For argument's sake, bit of hard solder, that melts at 800 degrees. You put your flame here, that is going to get to 800 degrees quicker than this metal. That bit of solder will ball up, okay? And it will dance around because it's boiling. It's literally boiling. But this is not up to 800 degrees. So if you dance the flame around on the metal, back and forth, 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 as soon as this reaches 800 degrees centigrade, the same temperature as that bit of solder melts, the heat is being transferred from the metal to the solder. The solder's going to go, oh my gosh, you're getting hot. This is talking to the ring. Is it that time? It's nearly that time.
Yeah, thank God.
The solder's going, oh, when you get to 800 degrees, I'm going to go. I'm going to spread all over you. Okay?
True.
What? Just explaining how things go. And the solder's going to go, I'm not going to flow just yet because you haven't got the right temperature. So as soon as this bit of metal here gets to 800, the solder's going to go, Bingo! You're 800 degrees, I flow at 800 degrees, and I am going to flow. And the solder flows. Okay? It's as simple as that. If you melt that bit of solder, the solder's going to go, oh my gosh, you're 800 degrees, your torch is so hot, I'm going to melt, I'm going to melt. And it's not going to flow onto the metal because the metal is not 800 degrees. I've just made these numbers up for the illustration of today's performance. So that is exactly what happens. The metal has to be the same temperature as the temperature that the solder melts at for the solder to flow on here. It's easy to melt that to 800. It's not so easy to melt that bit of metal. Yes, Louise.
I'm not sure I know what to say to that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that display.
Thank you very much.
Do you want another question?
I wouldn't mind, yeah.
Anthony is asking, is there any way you could melt some gold wire into that groove that Louise mentioned, or would it just ball up? This is going back to the kintsugi question.
So no, you won't be able to melt that wire. What you can do is, this is what a lot of people who do inlay, especially using the GRS, is across the surface you would cut a groove that is that shape. And then what they do, or perhaps not even quite exaggerated, I've exaggerated, but just with a little bit of an undercut, okay? So it's like this. Then they get a piece of round wire on the top of here, and they force that round wire into this gap, and as it forces in, it fills up underneath here. So you're left with your round wire being forced in, and it's like that. So this was the round wire, but it's been forced into this here. Yep. Then you file the top flat. There's no need to solder it in place because the undercuts will hold it in place. And that is how you do an inlay, perhaps using the Graver Mac with the pneumatic handpiece, or you could use a hammer and punch. But if you simply have that profile and you hammer your piece of wire into it, the wire can come straight back out because there's nothing to stop that wire from coming back out. But if you cut that with a slight underhang like that, hammer the wire in, it'll take up that gap. And because you've got the underhang and that's where the piece of wire is, it's not going to be able to come back out. Yes, Lou.
Oh, it was Helena. Yes, I did remember it was you, lovely. Tried the battery pack,
Yeah.
portable micromotor.
Yes.
It did not have enough torque and burr to drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Good.
Hope you got it sorted.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sebastian, just starting to put together my setup to start making jewellery.
Nice.
What kind of jewellery would be best to start making to practice on? I'm interested in making chains. Is that a good idea? Yes. Do you have any general advice for a beginner?
Okay, so you want to practice your soldering or practice your piercing. So just get a piece of metal, have an idea in your head, and just look at some clip art, for instance, and just use the clip art, put it up onto your piece of metal with like an adhesive label, print it out onto an adhesive label, or make a design, black and white, put it onto your metal and start to pierce and start to cut out just to practice your piercing. When it comes to soldering, making chains is a brilliant way of practicing your soldering because you've got so many links to solder. Get some round wire, wrap it round a mandrel or a nail, cut them all off. Don't snip them with a pair of snips, please don't do that because the ends are not going to be parallel. Cut them with a blade, solder them, practice soldering. Get some pieces of metal, solder some post onto it. There's lots of things that you can do to practice with, but get the techniques done first and the rest should follow.
Join at the bench.
And join at the bench,
Yeah.
but not at the moment. Not accept,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
Good. Heather says, will there be a discount on the Dustin micromotor? Maybe.
Yes, don't forget, again, if you're a paid member of At The Bench, you will get a discount and it should be off site-wide with the parallax. Yes. Yes, Lou.
Good. Heidi is saying, I would like to use some yellow alloy grain for decorative purposes in my pieces, soldering it to silver or other metals. Is this possible? What solder would I use / sweat solder it?
Okay. Yes, it is possible. Now, think about what is going to happen when you come to solder. If you're soldering your piece of gold onto a silver ring, okay, and there's your bit of gold by there. Think in advance what is going to happen if you want to sweat solder that gold ball onto a piece of silver, okay, I would get your silver, make a little divot where that ball is going to go, put some flux in that little divot, tiny little piece of solder, heat it up with your torch. That little bit of silver will melt into that divot. Have a small bit of silver solder and it'll melt into that divot. Okay, so now you've got your divot. Great. Now you can put your gold grain on top. Heat up the ring. Don't heat up the ball because again the ball is small, your ring is big. I'm not going to go through my performance again. You can understand what I mean. So heat the ring, okay, from here. Once that solder is the correct temperature, the solder will melt, the ball will drop completely into the hole, and the solder will stop here and here. So the solder will not flow any further up the gold ball because the solder likes the feeling between the two surfaces. It's like a hug. The nice warmth between the hug between the two people keeps the solder between them. The solder does not flow any further. You okay though?
Yes. Are you?
I am very well, thank you. But if you don't do it that way and you want to sweat solder and you want to put the solder on the gold ball, or you want to put a bit of solder down here, I would not use silver solder. Because what is going to happen, this ball is going to get to the right temperature before the ring. The solder is going to flow, especially if it's silver, it's going to flow onto your gold ball. And now you've got to remove that silver solder from your gold ball because it's coated it, because it's smaller and it will melt onto the ball before the ring. So in that case, you want to do it that way. I would use some gold solder in between there, or sweat solder a bit of gold solder onto the ball, then put that in contact with the ring. And as the metal gets the right temperature, the solder will melt and the solder then will flow back onto the ring itself. It won't flow onto the rest of the ring because it likes to stay between the two surfaces. So two different ways. Burr out the hole, put some silver solder, gold ball on top, no problem. Resting the ball on top, for argument's sake, use some gold solder. Yes, Louise.
Good. Anthony's saying, in relation to bending a tube, could it be done in a ring bender with some wire through the tube?
Yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yes, but
Good.
you've got to think about trying to pull that wire out. And that's why I would always have two halves going in, because it's easier to pull two halves out like that rather than trying to pull the one piece all the way through. Yes.
Makes sense. Good. Sasuke saying, could you please make a video on how to make a spring-loaded box clasp?
We've done box clasp on At the Bench already. If we did anything like that, it would be on At the Bench. Yes, but
Yeah.
if you want us to make a film on At the Bench for that, please contact Louise at andrewberry.co.uk with a picture of the sort of thing that you're after, and we'll happily do a film for paid members of At the Bench. We won't be doing that for YouTube, I'm afraid.
Okay. Would there be a discount on the sievert as a kit?
In our store, keep an eye out for some Black Friday deals that will be coming up in 2 weeks' time. Yes.
Okay.
I can't say at the moment exactly what a discount it would be. It wouldn't be a huge discount on sievert, but you may have a few percentages off. Yes. Yes, Lou.
Sandra is saying, my mother-in-law gave me some gold scrap yesterday for making embellishments. There is a range of 10 carat, 18 carat scrap. Can I combine them? If only buying one gold solder, which carat and hardness? Similar question. I do want some gold solder. I do want some gold solder on hand just in case I do some gold to go connections or jump rings.
Okay, so if you're going to combine the metals 10 carat and 18 carat, you're going to end up with something in between. Perhaps 12 carat, perhaps 14 carat, perhaps 15 carat, dependent on the quantities of 10 carat and 18 carat that you've got. So you're going to end up with something in between. If you're going to be getting your item hallmarked, there's not much point using 18 carat solder because that's going to be higher than what the metal is going to be. So I would use some 9 carat solder because it won't be hallmarked. If you've made something and combined it together, it won't be hallmarked 18 carat because the 10 carat will lower it. So don't waste money on 18 carat solder, and 9 carat solder would be fine, because if you are going to get it hallmarked, it's going to be 9 carat combined approximately 10 carat. So 9 carat would be the solder that I would definitely use. Yeah.
Okay.
Louise.
Good.
Oh, that's not you, that's your laptop. There we go.
Okay, KS is saying, I want to recycle a 925 bangle. It has... How is that then?
What?
Have you got my laptop on there when I'm not plugged in?
No, it just comes to the laptop and it's black because your laptop's not on.
I thought that was clever. So sorry. I want to recycle a 925 bangle. It has solder. Can I add fine silver to increase its silver? How would I check if the new melt is 925?
All right, so ideally you want to make sure that you cut through a solder joint. If you're melting down a bangle already, warm it up with a torch until it starts to discolour. As soon as that metal starts to discolour, keep heating it until it goes like a greyish or a blackish so it oxidizes. The solder joint in that bangle will show up as a little faint line, or if it hasn't been soldered properly, it may have a bit of a pool of solder where the joint should be. So that is something that you need to cut out or file away if it's on the surface. Oops, Daisy. So heat it up, discolours, oxidizes, the solder will always appear as a faint line. Always cut through that. So now you've got the majority of solder out. If you want to, you can always add a little bit of fine silver to that. It won't take much just to raise the quality a little bit higher. The assay office does have a little bit of leeway when it comes to using solder, but if you're unsure and you're going to have it hallmarked, I would always add a little bit of fine grain casting silver to the melt. How much? Half a gram if you're using, say, 8 grams, because the little bit of solder that's going to be mixed in with it that you may have missed is going to be minute, minuscule. So a half a gram of fine silver should just be just right, just to lift it above. There is no way that you're going to know exactly what percentage of silver is going to be in that if you're using...
Stop, it's made of layers.
Oh, in that case, I wouldn't melt it down. You're going to have too much solder. If it's made of layer upon layer, it's going to be cause hassle. Thank you for doing that, for stopping me. It's great. In case I went on and on, like I usually do. So if there's going to be that much, I would not melt that down. I would just send it off to be recycled, because if there's going to be too much solder, the solder is an alloy. It's going to contain other metals. If there's too much solder, it's going to alter the malleability of the metal and it will make it too brittle. So even though you may melt it down with some solder and you want to add some fine silver to it, the solder is going to reduce the malleability, the ductility of the metal, so it won't roll out as good. You won't be able to shape it as good. So personally, I would leave it. If you just have it one simple joint, it's easy. Cut through it, little bit of fine, raise the quality, Bob's your uncle. Multiple layers, too much solder, would not consider doing it, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Okay.
Last question, Louise, just after 5 o'clock. Let's have another last question.
Sandra said no hallmarking, just concerned about colour.
Oh yeah, it's not going to worry too much. Again, depending on how you solder your embellishments, as we just showed you then, a 9 carat solder is not going to be any different really to something that may be 10 carat or perhaps 12 carat once you've mixed the two. If you're just using 18 carat and nothing else, and that is what you're using, well then yes, I would use an 18 carat solder, because there is going to be a difference between 9 and 18. But if you've mixed the two, it's going to be 11, 12 carat, 13 carat, something like that. You might as well use 9 carat.
Okay.
Go on, the last question.
We've only got 2 questions left. I can't leave off the last question.
Go on,
so we're
there's
going to
2 questions left.
There's
Go
2
on.
left. So Sani is saying, can you show me how I can change the saw on the red saw, please, because I'm having trouble.
Change the blade?
The blade, I guess, yeah.
Okay, let me just go and grab that from over here a second. Let's see what we got here. So we've got, it depends on what red saw, Stacey, what red saw you've got. I happen to have 2 the same here. So I have one here that is that, and there's one there that is that. These have a lever on the top. So let's come up onto the close-up here. So this has a lever, okay? I'm not quite sure whether yours does. If yours has a lever, I will carry on. If it doesn't have a lever and it's just got a screw on the top, let me know. And I will stop and I will demonstrate that. But this is the lever. It works on a cam principle. Once you open the lever, you put the blade in. This is used a little bit. You just simply put the blade in the hole, okay? You make sure that that is pulled down as far as it will go.
Yes.
You tighten it up, okay?
Yeah,
now, just the lever. Brilliant. So now you can use the cam, okay? But that isn't very, very tight. So at the end of the cam, you've got, let me try and zoom in on this so we can see. There we go. So at the end of the red saw, you've got this little knurled nut here. So open it back up, tighten this a little bit, quarter of a turn, use the cam, push it all the way down, and you should be able to see the blade getting a little bit tighter. Let's go a little bit tighter again. Open that up, quarter of a turn, use the cam, and now it's a little bit tighter.
It's a ting, not a twang.
It's a ting ting.
It's a ting, not a twang, isn't
Exactly.
it? It's got to be a, yeah.
It's got to be nice.
See, that's a ting, isn't it?
It's like a ting. So now,
Not wang, 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 wang.
now he's having a funny. So now you can open that. If you snap a blade, you put the blade back in. You put this exactly to where it should be. You tighten that up, and then whenever you put this back like that. Okay, it's not quite because I'm trying to rush here. I'm just trying to do this on as it is, like that there, and it's like this here. There we go. So then whenever you put this round, you should get a nice twang, 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 as opposed to a twang, 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 twang.
No, you don't want a twang, you just want a ting, ting, ting.
You want a ting, ting, ting. So that is what it's all about. You've got the cam on the end, and just do it that way. And
it sings, yes.
It sings, yes.
Yeah.
And once you use the same, all saw blades should be pretty much the same length. So if you use the same brand, you'll find that if you do happen to break it, you release the cam, you open it up, you get the blade, broken blade, you take it out, you get the new blade, you put it in the hole, as far as it'll go, you tighten up, you put it in the hole here and tighten it up. And then when you bend that back over, you'll always have, doesn't happen there, but you should always have the same ting as opposed to a twang. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly how it should be.
That's the technical term.
Yes. And then you adjust it so when you bring the cam over, it'll have the same amount of pressure every single time. Like that. You come along, you break the blade accidentally. Oh dear, broken the blade again. New blade in, da 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 da. New blade in, da 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 da. Turn it over, and it'll be the same every time. So you always undo the cam, adjust the tension with the brass nut, turn it back over, get it just right. Simple as that. Was that the last question?
One last question,
One
so I
last
can't leave
question.
just one off.
Go for it.
Oh, yes. Any advice on choosing a microscope for stone setting?
Okay. It depends on how much stone setting you're going to do. We have in our workshop, we got 2 different types of microscope. We've got a Meiji, M-E-I-J-I. They are a really good microscope. They are not cheap. We've also got a Leica. We did have an A60, but we've sold that, but that's a good introductory level. Those are the two brands I would definitely recommend, a Meiji or a Leica. They are really, really good brands, but they're not cheap. It's not just the microscope you've got to buy, you've also then got to buy the stand that goes with it, and there are various stands that you can buy. You can buy an Acrobat stand, you can simply buy a little pole that comes out and across onto the microscope as well. Sometimes the stands will cost you £500, £600, £700 on their own, plus the microscope as well. I think we sold this Leica with a stand about £1,000. The Meiji that I've got downstairs, including the stand, was second hand again, and that was about £1,000.
It's a really good idea to try and get to a trade show, another big trade show if you can, isn't it? Because you get the chance to.
Yes.
I don't know if there's a showroom.
Any good jewellery suppliers microscopes should actually have the scopes. And another scope that is okay, I think, for occasional use, I think it's an AM scope. A-M-S.
$3,000 enough.
Yeah, you should get one of these for that. Yeah, you can get AM scopes, but what you've got to remember is that if you're doing a lot of setting, it's your eyes that are going to be going through the optics. The better the microscope, the better the optics. So that is why I personally would always go to a Meiji or a Leica, because the optics are really, really good. We've got the Leica with the camera built into it, so it's a little bit more expensive. Can't remember what model it is, but yes, if you're going to do it for occasional use, I don't know, a couple of times a week, go for something like an AM scope, a lot cheaper. But if you're going to be doing it every single day and rely on that, those brands, you should have no problems at all.
$3,000 is a very good budget, isn't it?
How much? 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you can pick these up second hand. They're always a good, but don't forget, again, with the scope, you want the stand that's going to come at a price. Also, if you just buy the scope on its own, sometimes the magnification is too close to what you're working on. So you're going to have to get a different lens to increase the depth working here. That then will reduce the amount of magnification. So all these things you've got to look at. Sometimes if you want to work on the peg by here, you can't get the scope up high enough to give you that distance. So you may have to have a little shelf to take the distance here further down to allow you the distance when you're sat with the scope to be able to work at the correct distance. So there's lots of things to think about, but as Louise says, if you know somebody who has a microscope, go and see them, or if you've got a chance to go into a trade show, go with that, because we were in the XL in September, weren't we? And Walsh had the scopes there, so you can have a bit of a play around, and that's the best thing to do.
And they can give you advice really based on your needs and your budget and everything really, so you can definitely get the right thing for you then, can't you?
Yes.
And that applies to any, big investment piece of equipment or
and the accessories that go with it, because the scope may be £1,000, but you've got to spend the extra on the lens, you've got to spend extra on the stand, so that'll bump the price up again. But
it's a good opportunity to try everything out, isn't it? Going to exhibitions and trade shows and things like that.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Should we go?
I think so. We've answered all the questions. I love it when this happens. It doesn't happen very often, does it?
There's always some left at the end of the
this is cool.
Q&A. So good. Thank you for that. Don't forget, everyone, give this film a like. Give this film a thumbs up. 80, 90 people on. And how many likes? 50 likes. Come on, guys. Press the like button. Really would appreciate it. Don't forget, keep an eye out if you're a paid member of At The Bench. Keep an eye out on your emails. If you have turned emails off and you don't want to hear anything from us, you won't get your discount code. So it always pays. It's as simple as that. If you opt out of emails, you're opting out of what could be an amazing discount with Durston. So that'll be coming up later on this week, beginning of next week. Workshop next week, or is it the week after? 27th. Week after.
Yes.
Next Monday is going to be a Q&A. We're going to be doing some demonstrations of the texture plates that Durston have got up with a discount. Perhaps I'll show you the pickle pot next week. Massive discounts available from us, only if you're a paid member of At The Bench. everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. We've got a little bit of a product review on the Durston Tumbler Pro later on YouTube in this week, so keep an eye out for that. It has changed my views on tumblers, I must
Wow, I
admit.
never thought I'd hear you say that.
So everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. Louise, do you have anything else to say, my dear?
No.
No.
Have a good week, everyone.
Have a good week, and we're going to be enjoying the winter fair in Ustrad that's going to be happening this coming Saturday.
Oh, don't.
So
I'll need a brown paper bag again.
I was going to say, I need a brandy, I thought you were going to say. Oh, yeah, you're going to need that as well, I think. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. Keep an eye out on socials for this week for all of the information, the Black Fridays and events and YouTube films and so forth happening this week. But in the meantime, it is goodbye from Louise.
Goodbye, and it's goodbye from Andrew.
Bye-bye.